Hey guys, Joe Davis here, and we are going to be learning no, I take that back. Not maybe, but definitely my favorite part of this entire, anything I do, really. This is really the nuts and bolts about what, makes this whole marketing thing tick. And it's creating the campaign. It's creating your marketing campaign. And I just love going through my method with you. And I'm just so excited that you can learn how to implement it, okay, for your business. It's going to be really cool to go through. So that's exactly what we're doing today. So everybody excited? Yeah, all right, let's go. So yeah, we're going to get right into it with creating the campaign. You take a ton of notes on this one. If you are not a note taker, or maybe you're not in the position to take notes, you need to take notes on this one. If you're really busy right now and you can't, I would say just have full attention to this. You need to. I'd rather have you stop and not do this right now. Go finish what you're doing. Come back and get full attention. That's how important this next lesson really is. And at the end of this, what you're going to have is a systematic approach, a process. And I love using that word, but you're going to have a systematic approach and a process that you'll be able to take. Here's the best part, and use forever. Okay, so you're going to be able to take what I give you today and just kind of plug things in, take things out, and use it forever. All right, and it will not fail you. It will never fail you if you stick to what I'm teaching you. Okay, so is everybody ready to go? Everybody excited? I know I am. So let's get going. So we're going to start with maybe the most important and probably the basic things to creating a marketing campaign, and that is simply. What is the one product for this campaign? And you guys have heard me before. Whenever you're doing a marketing campaign or you're looking at anything marketing related, you need to be as specific as possible. So, if you're trying, obviously, if you're looking to bundle auto insurance, home insurance together, we know that most companies are wanting that, but really you have to pick one or the other to start with the campaign. So that's our first step, is what's the one product that you want to solicit for this campaign? Okay, so that's the first. You can't move on to anything else till you decide that, and you have to stick with it because you can't change it halfway throughout the campaign. So, and like I said, really what we want you to do, and this is I want you to do it as we're going through this. So I want you to do two things, and you're going to probably want to watch this training a couple times because I'm going to want you to take notes on how to create the campaign. But I want you at the same time, if you can, create your first campaign with me because that's going to make it easier. Because what you're going to find is, let's say we're going to pick auto insurance for our example today. No, home insurance. We always do auto insurance. Let's do home insurance, whatever. So we're going to pick home insurance today. Okay, so we're going to go through our entire process, this entire training on home insurance. And then what you'll find is next time you want to go with an auto insurance campaign, you replace that one thing, and maybe the rest of it still works. Maybe you have to replace one other thing. Point is, this is a plug-and-play type system I'm going to show you, and that's why this training is just so flippin' awesome. Okay, so what's our one product? Let's say it's homeowners for today. All right, so everybody got that? Jot that down. If you haven't gotten a pen and paper, I'm going to do a brief pause, let you get that. All right, so we've talked about, none of these words I'm about to show you should be a surprise, because if you've watched all the trainings up to this point, this is where we're at. Okay, so this should be fitting in with everything. Now, if you've jumped right to this training and you haven't watched or done anything else prior to this, you're going to be a little lost. So I'd probably go back and watch those first. So as we know, we have talked about our target market to probably the end of the earth. All right, so this little formula is kind of what has always helped me create a marketing campaign. All right, so your target or your target market plus your source, and if we remember right, the source is where you get your leads. So that's your database, your requotes, current customers, terminated customers, all that stuff we've talked about. The target plus your source will equal the list that you have, okay? And your list is going to be mainly the prospects you're going to be working on or the people you're going to be targeting, all right? And that doesn't even need to be a specific set of names, right? So if you're doing a Facebook ad, it's just who you're targeting the Facebook ad after. And that target and source can actually be one thing, and then the list comes after. But just, basic understanding here, target plus source equals your list. And then your medium, which is how you're doing it. So once again, let's say it's Facebook, direct mail, email. plus your message, which is actually what you want to say to your target audience, that equals your ad or your copy. And when I say copy, guys, that's just, basically the world uses that term copy as in your actual advertising material. Okay, so kind of interchangeable, ad copy. I use the word copy a lot, so I want to bring that up. Just don't want to throw anybody off, because unless you're in the marketing business, you don't hear the word copy a lot. But so ad copy, same thing. So target plus source equals list. Medium plus message equals ad copy. I know you didn't sign up for a math class. We're going to really break all this down, make it a lot easier, but I want you to at least go ahead, write this down for now, okay? And that way you can at least have it, and you'll understand it once we go through it. And then last but not least, your list plus your ad or copy equals your campaign, all right? Now, if I stop now, you might have the formula, but it's almost like if I gave you the parentheses, plus and minus signs, and didn't give you any numbers and asked for the answer. I said the answer is 27, but I gave you nothing else to get up to that, right? So what we're going to do is take this formula and we're going to plug in the numbers for you, okay? So I want to give everybody time, write this down, make sure you got it, and we'll move on. All right. So the next thing we want to do, obviously, we're gonna pick the target. Now, obviously, at this point, you should have already done this because in our targeting training, we talked about all the different ways to target. So you should have already done this. So now we're at the point, let's pick which target we're going to go after. And when you have that list in front of you, and hopefully you have somebody in mind or something in mind, here's what I want you to ask. Okay? I want you to ask, can this target be any more specified? Without the prospects or maybe your audience getting significantly reduced. What do I mean by that? So if you have, and I'm just throwing some things out there. So let's say you have picked, I want 24-year-old to 65-year-old people that drive cars. All right, I know that's pretty basic, and if you've looked or watched the training, that that is not a good target base. Obviously, that can be specified much more, and if that's what you're doing, then you obviously didn't listen to the training on target market. Once again, stop now, go back, watch that. All right, guys? And so basically that's what I want you to look at is your list. Can it be any more specified? But look at this key part here, okay? Without prospects being significantly reduced. So what do I mean by that? I don't want to double talk here. So without prospects being significantly reduced, let's say you have a really good target market right now. Okay, I don't want you to, let's say it's a list of 1,000 people, and maybe for some reason on that list of 1,000, you have, I don't know, if they have sports cars or not. So you're like, you know what, I just want the ones with sports cars. So you figure that out, and all of a sudden that list of 1,000 becomes 100. Okay, I don't want you to do that. That's too specific. If it's going to cut down your prospect list or your audience that much, don't do it. But you just need to find that wheelhouse. You need to find that nice area where it's very targeted, specified, but you don't want it too low either. Okay, and if you need any help with that, just shoot me an email. Okay, so that's the first thing I want you to do with your target. Once you pick your target, I want you to see, can it be any more specified? And you got to ask yourself that question every single time. Is this as narrow? Remember, I talk about the funnel. Is this funnel as drilled down as much as it could be? All right, and if the answer is, yep, you know what, I'm happy with this. This is a very specified target. It's very detailed, so you can move on. Here's something else you need to ask. And I hope you've asked it before this, but I always encourage you to ask it because sometimes we get so caught up in what we're doing that we don't think about this. But does the target I picked have a need for my product I'm selling, right? So if you're trying to sell, let's go back to home insurance, but now out of that 1,000-person list, all of a sudden you realize 500 of them rent, well, then that's a problem. Okay, so you should have done this before this point, but ask it again. Does this target have a need for my product I'm selling? Does that make sense to you guys? Because, it's something where you guys understand that you go through these processes and you drill down, your brain gets a little mushy, and there might have been some very common things that you forget. So these obvious seeming questions are really good to ask sometimes. Okay? And then you have your target. They have a need. Okay, so you specified it. It's detailed. They have a need for your product. With that in mind, what is the number one way to reach this target? Okay, because it doesn't have to be a guessing game. You don't have to have a list and say, oh, maybe I'll try this with email, direct mail, Facebook, online advertising. Just go back, look at your list, look at your products. Once they match, say, what's the number one way to do this? Okay, so you don't have to have a guessing game as far as how you want to reach these people. And the other one, I say number one way to reach this target. There could be a number 1, 2, and 3, and that's okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Okay, but that is really what I want you to do with that target, because you should have the target coming into this, but I want you to ask these questions every time. So make sure to bold these, just so you're not missing anything. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? Great. All right, so we got the target information. Let's go ahead and we'll get to the source. All right, so what's your source? Where did you get the prospects? Now, this can mean a couple of different things. As we've talked about, your source can be lists. It can be those cross-sell attempts to current customers. It can be a sales genie list, terminated clients. It can be referrals. It can be a whole ton of things. But your source can also be, wanting to create a Facebook ad. Okay, so remember, if I'm talking about what's your source, but obviously if you're wanting a campaign like with online advertising, banner ads, Facebook, you don't have an actual list of prospects. Okay, so instead of me saying where did you get the prospects, we're going to just kind of supplement that, and I'll show you how we're going to do that in a minute. But I just didn't want to confuse anybody, because it is the same. It can still work. This is not just if you have a list of people. So your different source. We've talked about the organic. Okay, so when I say organic, that's grown from you or your agency. So that's your current clients, former clients, referrals, requotes, those are organic. Organic prospects are the best you can have, because guess what? How much do organic cost? Nothing. They cost absolutely nothing. So the key is, are you ever going to get away from non-organic? No, but your key is to have as many organic prospects and leads as absolutely possible. Okay, obviously you have paid traffic, and that can be your online advertising or telemarketing. So that's your Facebook banner ads, or you can have your telemarketers in there, or telemarketing service is becoming popular. And so all that information is paid. It works very well. Nothing against it. And I do a lot of it myself. Yeah, and like I said, you're never, in an ideal world, could you not pay for a single prospect or lead? I guess you're not going to ever have the results you want. Okay, so you can aim for maybe 80 to 90% organic and just pay for a little bit, depending on the results you want. But paid traffic is never going away. I use it, and it's something that if you do it right, which we'll talk about at a different training. If you do it right, you can really be successful at it. Okay? And then you got paid prospects, internet quotes, paid leads with info. And why did I highlight info? Anybody that knows me knows I detest these types of prospects. Hate internet quotes. I have no qualms with saying that. And then I say paid leads. Well, internet quotes, internet leads, none of those are quotes or leads. They're prospects, because leads and quotes are people that want to talk to you. So those are paid prospects. So my opinion, and this is just my opinion, stick with the organic and stick with the paid traffic. I wouldn't do anything with paid prospects. Okay, so that's what I mean when I'm talking source in this campaign, guys. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So is your source, first of all, is it organic or is it paid traffic? Okay, and remember, for each campaign, we're picking one. You can't do a bunch. We're picking one. And then depending if it's organic or paid, what is it? Okay, so is it your current clients? Is it your requotes? Is it telemarketing? What is it? All right, does that make sense, everybody? Give you a second to catch up here and write that down. Okay. And then we talked about the medium you're using. So are we now using, that's what I just talked about, I said with the source, exactly what source is it? So this is medium. What source, what actual medium are you going to be using? All right, so you guys know I'm a huge fan of the first one, direct response, mail and email. Direct response is always going to be your number one way to get sales. The people that, you get frustrated by it, because with anything direct response, there has to be tracking involved, and there also has to be some more work on your side. But we're gonna make sure that's not as much of an issue. Because direct response, I won't get into it because I get into it in a different segment that you guys have access to. You probably actually might have even watched it already on my direct response mail pieces, because I touch on that huge. But the reason I love direct response is people are communicating back to you and saying, yes, I'm interested. There is zero time wasted with a prospect that is in a direct response campaign except for the initial send out. Other than that, they're contacting you. So what medium are you using? So you got to pick one. direct response, mail or email, online, Facebook, mass email, okay, banner ads. You can even do the paid SEO, depending on your situation. Our last training, I talked a lot about SEO. I'm not going to go through all that again, but so it could be online or consumer media, TV, radio, newspaper, billboard. I also talked about that on our previous training, so you guys kind of know where I stand with that. And once again, direct response, that can be mail, email, it can be Facebook. A lot of times it is Facebook, especially if you set up like I do sales funnels, or it goes to a website, banner ads, anything like that. Direct response can be a lot of different things. And I don't, here's the other thing, and I'm not going to plug this really, but if you don't have a web page up or a sales funnel or anything like that, I want you, please do me a favor, contact me. Let's have a conversation. Okay, joe@imwithdavis.com, or hit me up on my Facebook. If you don't like our Facebook page yet, you definitely want to get on there because I'm always putting stuff on there. It's under my name, Joe Davis, and I'm telling you, you definitely want something that's leading traffic back, and we'll have a conversation and see what might be the best thing for you. Okay, so direct response, obviously, it is my favorite without a shadow of a doubt, and should be your favorite too. And if you do it successfully, you do it a couple times, you'll see why. All right. And then what is your message? The message, obviously, what do you want to tell them? Right, guys? So first thing you want to tell them is why you're different from everybody else. We hear this all the time, and it seems to be a question people struggle with. And I think the reason people struggle with it, and I know it's the reason I did, is I tried to be too big about it. But what we have to realize is little subtle differences make a huge impact to a client or prospect. All right, so even if you sell an ordinary product, insurance, you are extraordinary. And I mean that by every little thing that you can do as far as your post-purchase process. A lot of the different things we've already talked about in prior trainings can make you unique, make you different. Maybe you give them a giveaway. Okay, maybe you really actually go through all the different coverages. Some agents do a great job of that, some don't. It doesn't matter what company you're with. It matters how the agent or the sales producer treats you. Maybe you go through, we have the template of the coverage options for your state that you customize. I've seen so many successful salespeople put that in front of a customer, go down it line by line, and even if they're higher, they'll sell it, and that's an extraordinary experience because people are feeling good, they're feeling confident, they're feeling secured once they're leaving your office. So that's why you're different from everybody else. You don't need a big advertisement, a big sign saying we're different because of this. Okay, but within your message, you want to just show them that. Complimentary review of your current policy, free blah, blah, blah with every quote. Those are kind of cheesy, but you know what I mean. When we get into the copyright course, you're going to see some great examples of that. And that's going to be after this. So make sure to look for and that's a free copyright course, guys. And that's included in your membership here. So, and then tell them the reasons you're specifically made for them. All right, so we got a target market already. We know who we're going after, and that's why every time I'm going through all the way from the beginning, I said you got to pick one. You got to pick one, because when you get to this point of your message, you are now going to be able to be very specific about the message to this one person. Okay, and one thing we'll learn in our copyright course is you can put a tagline at the top of the page saying, attention, 24 to 34-year-old homeowners that live in the state of New York, because that's your target. So it's made for them. Okay. But they see that now. Whereas opposed to Geico is sending out a blank white envelope saying current resident or Mr. Smith, right? Okay. So you're going to have it specifically tailored and made to them. And that's going to, even if they don't realize it, it's going to have your targets trust us. All right, it's definitely going to have them trust us. Okay, so I want you to really use that fact that we're so specific with the target market, specific with the way we're doing this, that our message can be really tailored specifically to them, and really subconsciously have them trust us and know that we're made for them. And then we can start really getting in depth. If you're really getting this, okay, this is what I love to do. You can hint at that psychic graphic questions that you've already answered about your target market. So put that in some of the message, right? If you're targeting that person that has that 16-year-old out driving, put it right in the message. Are you worried that your 16-year-old's out past 9 o'clock at night? Boom. I mean, a piece of paper just read their mind. Okay, that right there, this, I want you to put a star here where I say hint at the psychographic questions you already answered, because you should have already answered the psychographic questions when you developed your target back in the very first training. So if you can bring a question or two back up in your message, all right, you have just completely blown their mind, and you're already a welcome guest into their home without ever meeting you once. Okay, that's a huge part of this. And then, of course, like I said here, give them the answer before they've asked the question. So if you're going to ask that question, you want to give them an answer. Give them an answer right then and there. We make sure your 16-year-old daughter doesn't cost you your house and she's protected, blah, blah, blah. I hate saying blah, blah. You guys know what I mean, though. So like I said, you're getting into their heads. They're feeling good about it. They're feeling good about you. And it's all because we're specific and we're tailoring this campaign to this one person, okay? And then and this is kind of a direct response thing, so I have it in here, but you always want to close your message with either an offer and a guarantee or an offer or a guarantee. Important. You always want that in there, because if you don't have a offer and a guarantee, then a lot of people, they really don't catch it as a close. It's just kind of like, oh, this was great information. No, you want to actually have a call to action. It's CTA right there. And this important actually down here, guys, that goes with the CTA part, because that is so important. I have seen so many great agents and salespeople tailor this message, and they get 95% of it right, and it's great. Everything on it just flows, and the information is awesome, and it talks to the client. It does everything we ever talk about. And then at the end, they miss the call to action. They don't ask the customer to do anything. Any message you ever put out, guys, anything to any customer, I don't care if it's a Facebook post that you're trying to promote something, you always want to ask them to do something, whether it's a call, an email, go to this site, whatever it might be, like our Facebook page. I don't care. There has to be a call to action on it. Okay, there absolutely has to be a call to action on it. If you miss this, it doesn't matter what you did before, because this whole thing is ruined if you don't do a call to action. Okay? All right, give you a second to write that down. Is this making sense to you guys? And if you look, I'm really hoping you guys are seeing how all this is coming together. And I think you're going to see it even more in a minute. But I really want you guys to see how this is all coming together. Okay? All right, so next, remember, we had our formula, so next we're on our list. Okay? So we identified our list. Sounds simple, but give your list a name. Why do I say that? Because you're going to hopefully do many campaigns, and you have to have a very specific name for each list you're creating. So once again, the target and the source is your list. Okay, so make sure you have a good list name, so you can go back and say, oh yeah, we want to do this campaign again, because this is something, here I am, I'm getting too excited. Something I didn't mention before. You do this campaign once for this homeowners, you're going to want to do it again in 3 months. Okay, so you do a campaign once, you want to keep doing it. Do you see how these campaigns, once you get this, it's an automated process for success, and you just keep tweaking it, plugging it in and taking it out. It's going to work. Give your list a name. Have it organized, I believe, both digitally and in a hard copy. Digitally because it's easy to share with everybody. Hard copy in case for some reason you lose it digitally, or flash drive, something like that. So, make sure you have that list, because that list it's so important, and it's kind of like the message too. You want to keep that. The medium, you can just do that again, but you want the list and all your hard work. You want to save it and then hold on to it. I see so many people be done with the campaign and then they're done with everything and they just delete it out. Well, don't do that. I know this is a very basic thing, but you know how they say there's warning labels for people because somebody tried it? This slide is out there because people have done it. Okay, it's that simple. Does that make sense, guys? So I won't harp on this page too much, but I definitely want to put it out there because people have done it. All right, now our second part, right, was the medium. Okay, remember we did, when we go back to our first, the medium and the message equal the ad and the copy material. Good enough is good enough. Does anybody guess what I mean by that? If anybody's a Dan Kennedy fan, they should know. Good enough is good enough. What's that mean? That means I'm really talking about the message, but it really translates into the ad and the copy. I really don't need you to be grammar police on this stuff. You want to sound, intellectual to a point, but it can't be perfect. If you try to make every single thing you put out there perfect, it's going to take you forever. You're not going to get anything done. That's, people with Facebook, they don't put a lot of stuff out because they want it to be perfect, or an email. If you're a perfectionist, I'm going to tell you this right now. Listen to me. If you're a perfectionist when it comes to doing this type of stuff, give it to somebody else, because good enough is good enough, and you cannot waste your time being perfect. Okay, because part of our game here, part of sales, I don't care if it's insurance sales, car sales, doesn't make a difference, is quantity. And you cannot get a good quantity out if you're trying to be perfect with every single item. Okay, so that's so important, guys. Good enough in this case is good enough. All right, I can't stress that. If you look at some of my writings, you'll find grammar mistakes. I don't mean to, obviously. I'm not trying to insult anybody's intelligence, but you'll see grammar mistakes. You'll see punctuation things. Heck, the way I write, they're generally not even structured sentences. But good enough is good enough as long as you're getting your message across. If you can, for your ad and copy, it's not a bad idea to get a semi-professional, and it's okay to steal. And here's what I mean by that. I don't want to get this construed. So first of all, when I say semi-professional, I don't mean a full-blown copywriter. Copywriters cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. If I do and I'm not, I don't do that full-time, but I do write copy for some people, and even me to write a full copy campaign, I'm up there. I'm probably $5,000 to $10,000 depending on what they want me to do. So you want to have somebody that's good at writing the marketing material if you can. Or the better option is just follow the course I have in this membership for you. Now you can see that course. People spend tens of thousands of dollars for copywriting courses, and the course that you have in this membership is included. Okay, so make sure to take advantage of it. And that's going to give you most of the basic information, which, once again, will make it good enough. Okay, and then it's okay to steal. What do I mean by that? You can see examples of copy from not just me, but several other people. You can Google examples of insurance sales copy. That's it. If you Google that, I'm not saying steal the words, but I am saying look at the format. Look at the format, and the format's not probably anything brilliant. It's probably the same type of copy format that's been used in hundreds of professions. So go ahead and look at that and use that format. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Don't use the words, use the format. Always keep it interesting so the reader can't stop reading. And we go through that a little bit in my copywriting course too, and it's a lot of that can be kind of hanging. You get the lines that kind of hang them out in interest. Others can be the way we format it, stories we tell, etc. So keep it always interesting so the reader can't stop reading. And then I'm going to say it again, take a short course or read some articles. So many articles out there online about copy. A lot of different opinions about it too. Hint, you have a course with this membership. Okay. And I'm sorry, I don't know if that's cut off. That might be a little cut off there for you guys, so I apologize if it is. But I've talked about it 10 times. So if that last sentence is cut off, I think it is on your side. All that says is hint, you have a course with this membership. So I said it 10 times, so you're not missing anything if you can't read that slide. All right, it's complete. We're done. No, I'm just kidding. We got more. All right, so you should have at this point a ton of different notes, right? All right, so here's what I want you to do. Now that you've completed your plan and it's done, I want you to look over everything and make sure everything is matching. Make sure everything from your target market all the way to your completed campaign, it all matches with your one message you're trying to get out there. Okay, make sure they all match. All right, and then you need to communicate it all with your team, so everyone's on the same page. So if they're getting responses from this stuff, people are calling in, stopping in, they understand that these are the type of customers we're trying to serve, because if they know this is the specific target you're going after, they can kind of tailor their sales approach or their service to this specific type of target, which can be crucial. All right. So if your salesmen know if they know that they're going to be trying to sell to, people that are around 30 years old as opposed to 65 years old, they already have it in their mind. They've already, started the process before they're even starting to talk to the customer. So you got to communicate this with your team. You can't just start blasting out thousands of emails or thousands of letters and not let them know who they're going to. Okay. And then you got to get your tracking system ready, because that's the only way you are going to know what's working and what's not. Not everything works. We know that in business, not everything works. You might go through everything we just went through, and it's not going to work the first time. I know my first 2 campaigns did nothing. Absolutely did nothing. I told you guys the story about the quarter letter previously, my quarter letter campaign, and I did another, it was like a coupon campaign. Neither one of them really tanked completely. I lost money. But I knew that because I tracked it, okay? So you got to have a tracking system out there. And so you got to know what works, what doesn't work, and obviously the ones that do work, you keep going again, which is basically how I finally came up with the end result of my direct mail process. It was that direct mail process that is all we do anymore. It was a bunch of trial and errors, combining things, subtracting things out, and it kind of came up with the perfect system, so that kind of takes the work out of it. And then the last thing is implement. Implement. This is where people have problems because a lot of you guys, you love learning. I love learning, but the one thing I cannot do, I can teach you all that I know. I can't do it for you. All right, so you have to want to do it yourself. So you're going to implement this, okay? You're going to implement it. You're going to see how it works, and then go back to the drawing board. And if it doesn't work, and if it does work, awesome. We're going to keep doing it, or maybe we want to tweak it a little bit, try to make it work better. But you don't know any of this until you implement it. Okay, so that's your part. I can't do that for you. I can help you up to that point, but I can't implement it. Now, let's rewind a little bit. Because you know me, I don't want to leave anything out there, anything hanging. You should now, next to you, have 2 things. Hopefully 2 things. You might only have 1, and that's okay, but hopefully 2 things. 1, you should have a ton of notes of what we just went over. In fact, you may have so many notes, I'm guessing, that you're looking at it overwhelmed right now, thinking this is too much of a pain in the butt. I don't know how the heck I'm ever going to do this, right? The second thing I hope you have is maybe an outline for your first campaign. Even if you think the notes are a pain in the butt, you still did it. If not, I would rewatch this. But don't rewatch it yet because I got something else here cool for you. All right, so you're thinking probably it's a little cumbersome, it's a little much, and now I got to put all these notes together. I got to keep flipping the page or reading up and down and figure out where I am, right? And then, Joe, you tell me about a tracking system. This is the first time I've heard about a tracking system, right? Here's what I did. All right, so because you guys got the membership, I have, first of all, under the template section, I have my spreadsheet I use for tracking. It's nothing crazy, but it already is. It's pre-headlined, and it also has formulas already in it, so you can probably easily track your return on, investment. So let me show you what that looks like. Okay. Now, like I said, I'm going to have the actual Excel sheet out here. Okay, but let's go through it real quick. Okay, so you gave your campaign a name, and that's going to go here. I'm not going to go through each one because you can see, but you can see all the things we've talked about, right? Market, message, media, number of pieces you're sending out, total cost. These are all just examples. Cost per prospects, leads generated. This is a formula. Don't worry, it's not going to be an error when you do it. Same with these guys down here. It is going to work. All right, so cost per sale, return on investment, so how much you made. This is all going to work for you. If you're an Excel wizard and you want to change it up, change the formulas, go for it. It's going to be all customizable, but I at least got this out there for you. So yeah, you can use this, guys. Isn't that nice of me? Yeah. So look for this in your template area because it's going to really help you find what works and what doesn't work and keep track of everything. Okay, now let's go to the last part I told you about how much of a pain in the butt it could be to go back through all these notes and figure out your campaign every time. Well, here's what I also did. Boom. All right, this is going to make that a lot easier, the actual nut and bolt process of it. This is in your templates area also, and so 1 of 2 things. You could print it out and handwrite it. Especially that's not a crazy idea if you're going through just thought process of your campaign. You can print it out as many as you want and just kind of write things out, see how they mesh, see how they work. Or obviously it's going to come to you as a Word document. Okay, so all the fields are protected, but obviously you can enable them, but I would just type within the boxes. Okay, so let's run through a marketing campaign. What do you guys say? All right. And I just kind of threw some stuff in here right before the presentation. And, this is just really useful for you guys. It's definitely something you want to do. So let's say my target market is going to be 24 to 34-year-old owners. I mean, homeowners is what I'm saying. Okay. All right. And my product I am selling, which you'll see in your, this, for some reason it's zoomed in, but down here is going to be where you put your product, or is it up here? I forget. Either on the top or I think it's on the top now that I think about it, is going to be your product. So up here it would say home insurance. For some reason on this slide it cut it off, but when you go to the actual templates, it's going to show homeowners. Okay, so, assuming we already know, we're going after homeowners. So 24 to 34-year-old homeowners, our source is going to be Sales Genie in this case. So that's where we're going to get names and addresses, all that good stuff. Our medium, I want to do a Facebook ad. And what's my message? Okay, and I just kind of threw something out there. How about, are you covered for a hurricane? All right, because that, to me, if I put that on a Facebook line, depending on where you are, of course. If you're in Wisconsin, it might not work. But, anything, if you're on homeowners, anything weather-related catches people's eyes because they can relate to it. Because weather's happened to all of us. A house fire hasn't. So, message, are you covered for a hurricane? All right, so let's go through it real quick. 24 to 34-year-old owners, Sales Genie. All right, so what's my list name? Sales Genie owners, 24 to 34. And how do I have that all set up? An Excel sheet. And it doesn't have to be, I'm just in this case. All right, and then we got Facebook, and are you covered for a hurricane? That's my medium, that's my message. Facebook single image ad, subject line, hurricane, blah, blah, blah. And then you'll go through the description and what you're going to do with the ad and the targets and all that good stuff, which we'll go over in our Facebook lessons. Last, Facebook owners hurricane. So this is like, well, that seemed easy, but how do I actually do it? This is going to be almost like your guide. Okay, this is your table of contents. So what you're going to be able to do is print this out to your team and say, this is what we're working on, guys. This is our campaign. Okay, so now do you see what I mean by when you have just a general plan, how now you can take it block by block by block and work on each block at a time until you have your campaign and then you want to implement. Okay, so maybe now you want to do auto insurance, same age, 25 to 35-year-old automobile owners. But this time I am going to get the list from my telemarketers or my quote requotes. Okay, and I want to email this list. All right, and I want to talk to people about, winter's coming up, so make sure you have, are you covered if you hit ice and hit a guardrail? I don't know. You can do the same exercise. Okay, so this is available in your template area. Because you are members, I wanted to give you guys something awesome. And this in the tracking sheet, I hope qualify as awesome and maybe will make your workload a little less cumbersome, I'm hoping. Let's go back to that tracking sheet because I want to show that off. Nothing crazy here, like I said. It's just something that I want you guys to have access to. If you have questions, ask me, but pretty self-explanatory. All right, guys. Remember, you got questions, hit us up, joe@imwithdavis.com. And a couple bits here. I would watch this again. If you didn't go through your first campaign, watch this again and do that. If you watch this whole entire thing and you did not watch anything previous, then you might be a little lost. I would go back and watch those. And also one big thing, especially when it comes to the message and the ad copy material, is you're going to check out our copy course that we have on here. And do some research on it your own if you want to, because it's a lot cheaper learning how to do it yourself than paying someone like me to do it. Now, if you want to pay someone like me to do it because you don't have the time, energy, or you just have a lack of interest, hit me up at joe@imwithdavis.com. More than happy to talk you through that. But other than that, guys, I hope you learned a ton. Did you learn a lot? All right. Did it all make sense? Does everybody see how this all meshes together? Yeah? Awesome. So I really look forward to the next training that we have, and I appreciate you sitting through this one. This is by far my favorite, most exciting one I do, and I want to hear about your successes. I say this a lot, but I really want to hear how this is working. So what's working, maybe what's not working, and let me know. So have a great day, everybody, and I will talk to you later. Bye.